You feel it, don't you? That hard-to-shake feeling that you are invisible, like the world just moves on without you. It's as if everyone else is important and noticed, but you're easily replaced, just another face in the crowd who no one really sees or remembers. That sinking realization when your replacement walked into the office and everyone acted like you never existed. When your best friend found someone new and suddenly stopped calling. When you see your ex posting happy photos with someone else, looking more alive than they ever did with you. This feeling might make you think there's something wrong with you, like you're less than others, like you don't belong. You start watching how easily people move on from everything. Your coworker who cried about getting fired is already loving their new job. Your friend who said they couldn't live without their partner is already dating someone else. Everyone seems to bounce back so fast, like nothing really mattered that much in the first place. And then it hits you, the scary truth you don't want to face. You're not the exception. You're just as replaceable as everyone else. When you leave a job, someone else sits at your desk the next week. When you end a relationship, they find someone new pretty quickly. When you stop being the one who always reaches out first, the group chat goes quiet. It's like you were never really there at all. The worst part isn't even being replaced. It's how smoothly it happens. No one seems to struggle without you. No one fights to keep you. No one acts like losing you was this huge, devastating thing. Life just keeps going, and you realize that maybe you were never as important as you thought you were. Maybe you're just a temporary person in everyone else's permanent story. You start believing this is all you'll ever be, the person they're with, before they find their real love, the employee who keeps things running until someone better comes along, the friend who's there when no one else is available, always the backup, never the first choice, always replaceable, never irreplaceable. But what if I told you that Carl Jung, one of the smartest people who ever studied the human mind, saw something special about people who feel this way? He found that this crushing awareness of being replaceable isn't a sign that you're worthless. It's actually proof that you see something most people are too scared to look at. While everyone else lives in denial about how the world really works, you've stumbled onto one of the hardest truths about being human. This painful awareness you carry isn't making you weak. It's making you wise. And Jung discovered that people like you, who feel this deep fear of being replaced, actually have something rare and powerful that most people never develop. Your pain isn't pointless. It's pointing you toward something bigger about who you really are. But before we talk about the first sign that you have this special but painful awareness, I need to warn you about something. What you're about to learn might hurt even more at first, because once you really see how replaceable we all are in some ways, you can't pretend it's not true anymore. But you'll also discover something else that changes everything. Are you ready for that kind of honest truth? Jung called it dangerous self-awareness, and if you have it, you already know why it feels like a curse. You don't just worry about being replaced. You can see exactly how it would happen, step by step, person by person, like watching your own funeral while you're still alive. Most people live in comfortable denial about their replaceability. They think their relationships are solid, their jobs are secure, their friendships are forever. But you see the cracks before they even form. You notice when your boss starts praising the new hire a little too much. You catch the way your partner's eyes linger on someone else. You feel the shift when your friends start having conversations that somehow never include you. This isn't paranoia. This is pattern recognition on a level that most people can't handle. You've trained yourself to spot the warning signs because being blindsided by replacement hurts too much. So now you live in a constant state of watching for the signs. When your girlfriend starts taking longer to text back, you're already calculating how long until she finds someone else. When your coworkers stop inviting you to lunch, you're already updating your resume. You run replacement scenarios in your head like some twisted mental simulation. You know exactly who would take your place at work. Probably that eager new guy who stays late and volunteers for everything. You can picture your friend group without you, and honestly, they'd probably be just fine. Maybe even better, less complicated, less needy, less intense. While other people get caught off guard when relationships end or jobs disappear, you saw it coming miles away. You've been preparing for your own replacement before anyone even started looking for one. This awareness makes you feel crazy sometimes, like you're paranoid or negative. But then it happens exactly like you predicted, and you realize your instincts were right all along. The problem is, this kind of awareness is exhausting. You're constantly on high alert, always scanning for threats to your place in people's lives. You notice every small change, every slight shift in energy, every tiny sign that you might be losing your spot. Other people just live their lives, but you're living like you're always one mistake away from being replaced. This hypervigilance makes you desperate to prove you're worthwhile, simultaneously believing it's impossible. You know too much about how easily people move on. You've seen it happen to others, and you know it's going to happen to you too. The only question is when, not if. And that knowledge is slowly eating you alive. Here's the thing about feeling replaceable. It turns you into someone you never wanted to become. Someone who says yes when they want to say no. Someone who's always available, always helpful, always ready to drop everything for other people. You become the person who texts first, plans everything, remembers everyone's birthdays, and never asks for anything in return. You've convinced yourself that if you just do enough, give enough, be enough, maybe people won't want to replace you. So you become the friend who always listens, but never talks about your own problems. The partner who never complains, never asks for more, never rocks the boat. The employee who works overtime without being asked and takes on everyone else's responsibilities. Jung understood this pattern. He called it compensation. When we try to make up for what we think we lack by becoming extreme in the opposite direction. You think you're not naturally lovable enough, so you become desperately useful instead. You think you're not interesting enough, so you become indispensable instead. You think you're not special enough, so you become irreplaceable through sheer effort. But here's the twisted truth about overfunctioning to avoid abandonment. It actually makes you more replaceable, not less. When you're always the one giving, doing, fixing, and solving, people start seeing you as a service, not a person. They get used to taking from you without giving back. They expect your constant availability. They assume you don't have your own needs because you never express them. Your generosity stops being seen as kindness and starts being seen as just what you do. Like how you don't thank the sun for rising or the air for being there. It's just expected. You become so good at being the giver that people forget you're human too. They forget you have feelings, needs, bad days, and limits. The exhausting part is that this strategy actually works sometimes, but only temporarily. People do become dependent on what you provide, but dependency isn't love. Convenience isn't connection. And the moment someone comes along who can give them what you give them, plus something extra, you're out. You've made yourself irreplaceable by making yourself miserable. You've secured your position by sacrificing yourself. But deep down, you know this isn't real love or friendship or respect. It's just people taking advantage of someone who's too afraid of abandonment to set boundaries. Your overfunctioning isn't protecting you from replacement. It's just making the replacement hurt more when it eventually happens. You've become a detective of your own worth, and it's destroying you. You don't just casually wonder why some people seem more loved than others. You study them like you're preparing for a final exam. You watch the popular girl at work and try to figure out what makes everyone drawn to her. You analyze your successful friends and take mental notes on what they do differently. You scroll through social media like you're researching a science project, trying to crack the code of what makes someone irreplaceable. You know exactly why your coworker gets invited to all the important meetings while you don't. She speaks up confidently, even when she doesn't know what she's talking about. You know why your friend always has people calling and texting while your phone stays quiet. He's funny in that easy way that makes everyone feel good about themselves. You can pinpoint exactly what your ex's new partner has that you don't. She's spontaneous and fun, while you were always worried and careful. This isn't casual observation. This is obsessive analysis. You break down other people's personalities like you're studying a manual on how to be lovable. You notice that confident people get chosen more often. Funny people get invited to more things. Easygoing people don't get replaced as quickly. So you try to become all of these things, but it never feels natural. It feels like you're wearing a costume that doesn't quite fit. Jung understood this trap. When we don't know our own value, we look everywhere else for clues about what makes someone worth keeping. But the more you study other people's worth, the more worthless you feel about yourself. It's like trying to understand your own reflection by staring at everyone else's mirror. You become an expert on what makes other people special while completely losing sight of what makes you special. You can tell anyone exactly why their favorite person is amazing, but you couldn't name one thing that makes you worth keeping. You've turned into a researcher of human value who's forgotten that you're human too. The worst part is that all this studying doesn't actually help you become less replaceable. It just makes you better at seeing all the ways you don't measure up. Every person you analyze becomes another reminder of what you're missing. Every success story you study becomes another reason to feel like you're failing. You're like someone who's trying to learn how to swim by watching other people float, but you're so focused on their technique that you forget to actually get in the water yourself. There's something you do that makes no sense to anyone watching, but makes perfect sense to you. When things start going well, when someone actually seems to care about you, when a relationship or friendship feels solid and safe, that's exactly when you blow it up. Not because you want to hurt anyone, but because you've learned that if you ruin it first, at least you're in control of when it ends. This is your twisted survival strategy. You've figured out that being left hurts way more than leaving. So you've become an expert at finding reasons to walk away before anyone can walk away from you. When your partner says they love you, you start picking fights about small things. When your friend makes plans with you weeks in advance, you suddenly find something wrong with them. When your boss starts giving you more responsibility, you begin showing up late or making careless mistakes. You'd rather be the villain in your own story than the victim. At least villains have power. At least villains make choices. Victims just get things done to them, and you've had enough of that feeling to last a lifetime. So you become the one who ruins the good thing. You become the one who pushes people away. You become the one who ends it before it can end you. The crazy part is, sabotage actually feels safer than happiness. When someone treats you well, alarm bells go off in your head. This feels too good to be true. They're going to figure out you're not worth it. They're going to find someone better. So you start testing them. You cancel plans last minute to see if they'll still want to hang out. You act moody or difficult to see if they'll stick around. You create small dramas to see how much they really care. Jung understood this pattern. He knew that our wounded parts will destroy good things to protect us from bigger hurt later. Your sabotage isn't mean or crazy. It's your scared inner child trying to survive. That child learned early that people leave, that good things don't last, that being vulnerable means getting hurt. So now, whenever something feels too good, that child panics and burns it down before someone else can. But here's the cruel truth about this strategy. You abandon people to avoid being abandoned, but abandonment is still abandonment. You reject them before they can reject you, but rejection still hurts just as much. You're creating the exact thing you're trying to avoid. Every time you sabotage something good, you're proving to yourself that you really are unlovable. Every time you push someone away, you're adding more evidence that people always leave. You've become so good at protecting yourself from being replaced that you replace yourself before anyone else gets the chance. By now, you've probably made peace with loneliness. Not because you wanted to, but because it started feeling safer than hoping someone would stay. You've learned that being alone hurts, but being replaced hurts worse. So you've chosen the pain you can control over the pain that surprises you. You've gotten good at this, really good. You know how to fill your time so the silence doesn't feel so heavy. You've mastered the art of being okay by yourself, eating dinner alone, going to movies solo, spending weekends with just your own thoughts. You tell yourself this is independence. You call it being self-sufficient, but deep down, you know it's really just protection. Jung saw the difference between people who choose solitude and people who surrender to it. When you choose to be alone, it's because you enjoy your own company. When you surrender to being alone, it's because you've given up on anyone else wanting your company. You've moved from hoping someone will choose you to accepting that no one will. There's a strange comfort in this surrender. When you stop expecting people to stay, you stop getting disappointed when they leave. When you stop hoping for texts back, you stop checking your phone every 5 minutes. When you stop believing you matter to anyone, you stop feeling hurt when they prove you right. Loneliness becomes like a familiar roommate, not fun, but predictable. The weird thing is, this acceptance of aloneness has taught you something most people never learn. You've discovered who you really are when no one else is watching. You've found out what you actually like, not what you pretend to like to fit in. You've learned to be your own best friend because you had to be. You've developed this inner strength that people who've never been truly alone don't have. In your loneliness, you've become more real than most people ever get to be. You don't have to perform for anyone or pretend to be different than you are. You don't have to laugh at jokes that aren't funny or agree with opinions you don't share. You get to just be yourself, even if yourself is the only audience you have. But here's the shadow side of making peace with loneliness. You've confused safety with living. You've mistaken protection for peace. You've convinced yourself that not getting hurt is the same as being happy. But your soul knows the difference, and it's been trying to tell you something important, something that changes everything about what you think you know about being replaceable. Here's what Carl Jung discovered that changes everything you think in Tanoso about being replaceable. He found that the people who feel most replaceable are actually the ones who understand something profound that most people never figure out. You're not feeling this pain because you're worthless. You're feeling it because you've touched the deepest truth about human existence. Jung realized that everyone is replaceable in their function, but no one is replaceable in their essence. Your job can be done by someone else. Your role in a relationship can be filled by another person. Your spot in a friend group can be taken over. But the specific way you see the world, the unique combination of thoughts and feelings that make you who you are, that can never be replaced because it has never existed before and will never exist again. Most people live their whole lives without ever discovering this difference. They think being functionally replaceable means they're completely replaceable. They confuse what they do with who they are. They mistake their roles for their identity. But you've been forced to go deeper. Your pain about being replaced has pushed you to ask questions that comfortable people never have to ask. What makes someone irreplaceable? What gives a person value? Why do we matter? This is why you feel so different from everyone else. While they're busy playing roles and filling functions, you've been searching for something real. While they're content being replaceable parts in other people's lives, you've been looking for your irreplaceable core. Your awareness of replaceability isn't a weakness. It's proof that you understand the difference between surface and depth. Jung called this individuation, the process of becoming who you really are instead of who everyone else wants you to be. Most people never even start this process because they're too comfortable being functional, but you've been forced into it by your pain. Every time you felt replaceable, you were being pushed to find what about you can't be replaced. Your wound has become your teacher. Your pain has become your guide. While other people get to stay on the surface, you've been diving deep. While they get to be comfortable, you've been forced to become real. This is why you can see through fake friendships and shallow relationships. This is why you can't settle for surface-level connections. You've been to the depths, and you know the difference. The people who hurt you by replacing you, they did you a favor without knowing it. They forced you to stop looking for your worth in other people's choices and start finding it in your own essence. They pushed you to discover that your value doesn't come from being chosen by others. It comes from choosing yourself. Knowing you feel replaceable isn't enough. You have to stop trying to be indispensable to others and start being irreplaceable to yourself. Jung said, "Becoming who you truly are is life's greatest privilege, but for you, it's survival. You can't keep waiting for someone else to decide you're worth keeping. The hard truth? Remove everyone's opinions about you and ask what's left. That answer is where your real power lives. This won't be easy. People will resist the real you. Some will leave, but the right people will find you. Real relationships will begin. Your actual life will finally start." Subscribe now if you're ready to stop being replaceable and start being irreplaceable to yourself. Comment, "I am irreplaceable," below. You weren't born to be someone's backup plan. You were born to be irreplaceable.